Hello and welcome back to the How Could You Forget podcast, or welcome if this is the first time you're tuning in. We are your hosts, Gurdon, Camp, and Lexi, and today we're going to be talking about something that I was researching or looking up, and we're going to be talking about the Lamb era, L-A-M-B, of one Gwen Stefani. Does anybody know anything about this?
I know Gwen Stefani, and I know lambs exist. That's about it.
Okay. All right, like the animal?
The animal.
That's all my knowledge.
There is an animal,
okay.
He says.
This has
True.
nothing to do with the animal. Just so
This
you know.
this some shit.
Gurdon,
What
do you
word?
know anything about this?
Do I know anything about this?
Yeah.
I think I've heard about Gwen Stefani before. Isn't she the one that doesn't like any holla back? Ain't no holla back
Yes.
girl?
Yep, that's her.
That's her.
Yep.
All right. There ain't no
Okay.
holla back girl. That's her.
Mm-hmm.
She also
I
knows
know-
that we're cool. That's her,
Yep.
right? Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
That's her
okay.
also.
We're figuring it out. It's just taking
Let's
a
go.
long
Okay. All
time.
the pieces are slamming into place. We are so good. We're so back.
We're making a puzzle
Okay.
right now.
Let's go.
So today we're going to be talking about Gwen Stefani, but we're going to specifically talk about her debut solo album because if you are slightly familiar with Gwen Stefani, you might know her as the vocalist for No Doubt, the rock band.
Don't speak!
That song. So you might know her from No Doubt, but I'm talking specifically today about her solo debut album, which was Love Angel Music Baby, or Lamb. shortened.
Oh.
Eric's learning like, oh.
Wow, acronyms. So this is the album that has Holla Back Girl, which the vast
let's
majority
go.
of people know. If people don't know that song, then they're not gonna understand anything that we're talking about today. They're
Eric,
gonna
play
be
exactly
like,
1 second of that clip
Who?
right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will play as much as copyright will allow right now. And it's over. Okay. there
It's
you go.
over.
Yeah.
That was it.
Well, we can put some pictures up if we need to do that too. But yeah, so that's pretty much how everybody probably knows or has heard of this album. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So any questions before we start? I'm going to give a little bit of a background, but
Can you give a very quick background on Gwen Stefani for the people that might not know about her and what she is?
Yeah, just like
segue.
the maybe 3 people who
Perfect
don't know.
segue. Yeah, if there's
perfect
anybody that's
segue.
not in this call that might not know, that's not in this call.
Yeah, so that was actually my first thing, was just talking about her a little bit. So Gwen Renee Stefani Shelton, because she is married to Blake Shelton now.
Oh,
Yeah,
I know
we'll get into
him.
that. She was born on October 3rd, 1969. She is known for being a singer-songwriter as well as a fashion designer. We'll talk about the fashion stuff in a little bit. So obviously she is a co-founder and the lead vocalist, which I mentioned earlier, of No Doubt. Some people may have heard of No Doubt, maybe not, but they were very popular in the mid-90s. It says their breakthrough album, Tragic Kingdom. So if people know of No Doubt, that's probably the songs that they have heard are off that album.
Maybe. I think I know more about Gwen Stefani's solo stuff than I do No Doubt stuff. And the Gwen Stefani stuff I know is already pretty low. So
Yeah, and
I think I've only heard No Doubt by name.
That's not uncommon, because I did not, when I was younger, obviously when her debut solo album came out, I was 8 years old, so I'd only ever heard of her. I did not really know about No Doubt. I know about No Doubt now, but I did not know them before her. So I think that's the general consensus, is that No Doubt is arguably more popular now than they were back then, but I think that's kind of how she was able to springboard and create a solo career, is because they had done pretty well as a band. And so yeah, we'll get into some of that here in a second. But like I was saying, successful career with No Doubt, and she was kind of kicking around this idea of doing just some solo songs. I don't think that she was wanting to originally do an album. It was kind of like, hey, if I do, great. If I don't, whatever. I'm just going to work on a few of these solo things. And one of the first things that she did was in 2003. She launched the LAM, so that's L.A.M.B. because it's an acronym, fashion line. So she is very passionate about fashion. It seems like she always has been. So she started this fashion line.
Is she passionate?
Again, yeah, she's very passionate.
Okay.
So she founded that in 2003, and then it made its runway debut in 2004. So that kind of went along with her solo album, Love Angel Music Baby, which is also LAM. That was in 2004. So those things kind of went together. So this album, despite it being very, I'm biased because I loved this album. And I remember just being a Gwen Stefani stan. I loved all of her music from this album.
Gwen
from
head.
her. Yeah, a Gwen head or Gwenite, whatever it was.
Gwenite?
A Gwenonite. No, it sounds like Mennonite. A Gwenonite.
Oh,
Gwenonite. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'll say, don't make it sound bad. So this Love Angel Music Baby album, like I mentioned, it was started out to just kind of be a few songs that she was working on, some of the things that were interesting to her. And it was released on November 12th of 2004. I want to say that I found this album probably in 2005 because back, in the early 2000s, music was not the same as it was now. Like an album drops and you're listening to it within an hour of it being released or, right as it's being dropped. That wasn't really how it was in the 2000s, especially if you were an 8-year-old child. I think that I found this album in 2005 when Hollaback Girl and the single, like the lead single for this album, what You Waiting For.
What you waiting for?
So if you haven't heard that song, absolute bop, really great song. So that album came out and it was received pretty well critically. I saw from the Wikipedia page, because love Wikipedia here. It says received generally positive reviews from music critics. At Metacritic, which assigns a normalized rating out of 100 to reviews from mainstream publications, the average received an average score of 71 based on 22 reviews. So
yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty good, especially for a solo debut from someone who was in a very rock heavy. I mean, I don't want to say that they weren't like heavy metal or anything like that, but No Doubt is a very rockish kind of band, and Love Angel Music Baby was very much not that. It was a pop record. It was a dance record through and through. From the release of this album, Gwen Stefani has said that she wanted to use her solo career as an opportunity to delve further into pop music instead of, quote, and this is, cited on Wikipedia, trying to convince the world of her talent, depth, and artistic worth. So she was like, hey, you know what? I don't care if you don't think I'm very deep with this. I want to make this album and I want it to be fun and enjoyable. And again, it goes on to say in this Wikipedia article, the album was described as, quote, fun as hell, but not exactly rife with subversive social commentary. So it was pretty obvious that this was just going to be a fun, enjoyable pop record, and it was not looking to be super deep or, thought-provoking necessarily.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. That's totally, it sounds like she knew exactly what she wanted to do for this album, and it sounds like she did exactly what you set out to do. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right. So if that was the end of the story, though, that'd be pretty boring, right?
I was about to say, this is a great episode. We'll see you all next
so
week.
Wholesome.
Right. If it was,
I love...
Yes?
just the immediate silence. I love lambs is what the end of the episode would be, just right there. Thank you for sharing that.
I
feel like it's about to get real
shout
bad.
Out lambs.
It's not real bad, but it's interesting.
How many people did she kill, Lexi? You have to tell us right now.
0. Okay, it's not that.
Okay.
It's not that crazy. No.
39 buried, 0 found. All right.
Oh my God. No, I'm not accusing Gwen Stefani of any murder or illegal activity. That is not what we're going to be talking about. So yeah, it would be pretty boring if it was just, hey, a woman in a rock band did a pop album That's okay. Snooze, old news. Like that's happened a billion times. So
Snooze, old news.
exactly. So, as a part of Love Angel Music Baby, Gwen introduced what was called the Harajuku Girls, and I will just
She introduced them.
She introduced them.
I said Gwen introduced them.
Oh,
Sure.
sure.
Okay.
And I will just read the Wikipedia description. It says, Love Angel Music Baby introduced the Harajuku Girls, an entourage of 4 Japanese women whom Stefani referred to as a figment of her imagination. The Harajuku Girls are discussed in several of the songs, including one named after and entirely dedicated to them. That is on the Love Angel Music Baby album. There is a song titled Harajuku Girls. We will get into that. It says they appear in most of the music videos produced for the album.
Wait, but I thought you said that they were supposed to be a figment of her imagination. Is like,
oh, they were very real women.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm gonna let you finish. I am
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah.
So
Oh,
the
they're very
Harajuku-
real.
Yeah, no, they're very real. So the Harajuku Girls appear in most of the music videos produced for the album. That is the Love Angel Music Baby album. And then the music videos for Gwen Stefani's second album, The Sweet Escape, which you probably are also familiar with. That was the song that she did with Akon.
That was Gwen
So-
Stefani? I didn't know that, actually.
Yep.
Eric's
Sweet
like, I
Escape
guess
with
I'm
Gwen
a Gwen
Stefani.
head.
Yeah,
We're learning so
right.
much. I'm a Gwed.
I'm a Gwen. That sounds like a slur.
Oh, God. Yeah, no, never mind. Abort.
So I wanted to read that clip from, or that little blurb quote from Wikipedia the Wikipedia page, because I thought it was very interesting that it said, an entourage of 4 Japanese women who Stefani referred to as a figment of her imagination. Okay, these were not just like animated characters in a music video. These were very real women that she hired that were in her videos that would accompany her on red carpets. She gave each woman a name that was Love, Angel, Music, and Baby.
Were those
And,
their real names?
No. We'll get into that in a second. No, that was just.
Of course
I
not.
don't think she legally made them
No.
change their names.
All
That
right,
was
your name
just-
is now Love.
Yeah, that was just their stage name.
Imagine
when they
having the
were-
first name Baby. That'd be terrible.
Oh my gosh, that's so bad.
Yeah, we see how well having the first name Music worked out for that Sia movie. So yeah, don't want to repeat of
true.
that either. So yeah, these were very real women, and
Of course.
most of the time they were backup dancers for her in her music videos as models, all that kind of stuff. And so, wouldn't be weird if it was just for a music video, right? You hire Japanese women for your song called Harajuku Girls, and you call it a day, right? Like that's not
We've all done it
really-
before.
No,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's like everybody's done it, but that would make a lot of sense, right? Sometimes when an artist is making a music video, if they're filming it in a different country, or if it is about something that is not very familiar to them, they will sometimes say, okay, I'm going to go on location and I'm going to hire people from this culture to be in my music video. Unfortunately, I wish that was all that it was.
Oh no.
So I just want to talk about the 4 very real women behind this, group of Harajuku girls. So we have, and I'm going to try not to butcher these names, so I'm very sorry. I did look up some of these pronunciations, so I hope that the internet did not let me down. So we have Maya Chino, and her stage name was Love, and she grew up in Tokyo. She started doing ballet when she was 3 and also danced. So before she was a dancer for Gwen Stefani, she was actually a backup dancer for a very, very famous singer in South Korea named Boa. And then when she moved to Los Angeles, she became a choreographer. And so I think that was, it seems like that was after her time with Gwen Stefani that she relocated to LA full time, and now it supposedly to this day is a choreographer. I don't know if that's changed. There's not a ton of information on these women. So last they knew, she was a choreographer in LA. So we have our second member, Jennifer Kita. Her stage name was Angel or Little Angel. And she is Japanese American, coming from Torrance, California. She studied dance in college, and then she danced with a hip-hop entertainment company. And how she got her big break was that she was in Britney Spears' Pepsi ad, which broadcast during the Academy Awards. So I'm assuming she was probably scouted from that. It does say that after she performed with Gwen Stefani, she did go on tour with Madonna, as well as performing for artists or with artists such as Snoop Dogg, Ricky Martin, Psy, and Shakira. So she's done fairly well for herself as a dancer. Those are some pretty big name people.
Good for
Yeah.
her.
We have Rino Nakasone, and her stage name was Music. She grew up in Okinawa, Japan, and she became interested in dancing after she was watching Michael Jackson. So she just kind of fell in love with dancing. And it says when she was 19, she went to LA to study dance, joined an all-female dance group called the Beat Freaks, and she was actually a runner-up on America's Best Dance Crew with that dance crew, the Beat Freaks.
Oh, that's cool.
Really quick
So-
question. Was the Beat Freaks a dance group from the 90s?
I don't think so. If they were runners-up in America's Best Dance Crew, I think that was on in like the 2000s.
Okay, because I was going to say Beat Freaks sounds like the most 90s ass name I have ever heard of in my entire life. So
You're
I
not
was
wrong.
just like,
Okay, so
perfect.
it says that they were created in 2003.
Oh.
So
Oh, okay.
Okay, they missed the mark
Close.
barely. Still
so
a good name, though.
not 90s, but they also did like hip hop and like b-boying, b-girling, breakdance type stuff. So that's probably why they decided to go with their name. But again,
Yeah, that makes sense then with the style and everything.
right. Not exactly sure on that. Don't quote me on that. But
Quoted.
yeah. So
Get
very
quoted, nerd.
accomplished, and I'm just gonna have to nerd out about this because no one else on this podcast and probably nobody listening cares. But Rino Nakasone is a choreographer who is very, very famous for working with Shiny, who is a very popular K-pop
Oh.
group. I love them.
That big crab from Moana.
Sure. Yeah. I love that crab song, Lucifer. That's my favorite.
Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
You
so,
cooked.
so yeah, if we do have any Korean music fans, she is known for helping choreograph with Shiny, specifically Love Like Oxygen, Juliet, Lucifer, and Hello, as well as choreograph. Oh my God, I cannot say that word. Choreographing for Girls' Generation, Super Junior, FX, and BoA. So if you're a Korean music fan, that will mean something to you. If you're not, she's very accomplished.
Sounds like it.
Good to know.
And then we have the final member. We have Mayuko Kitayama. Hope I did not butcher that. That is her stage name is Baby, and she grew up in Osaka, and then she moved to New York, where she practiced dancing for several studios, as well as danced in Japan. And in 2004, she appeared as one of the backup dancers for Britney Spears' Onyx Hotel tour. So she was probably scouted from that, if I had to guess.
So 2 for 2
Okay.
dancers coming from Brittany.
Yeah. Looks to
Just
be
get
that way.
stolen.
I mean, yeah, they're all very good. I mean, they all have a very impressive resume. So, so those are the real women behind these.
I hate that you have
personas.
to say that. I hate that
Yes.
you have to say that.
I hate that I have to say it too. But I wanted to talk about that because, as we get into some of the topics later, I have never heard the names of these women before. And so I really just kind of wanted to shout that out because, spoiler for what's ahead, cultural appropriation gets thrown around a lot with this. But I had never actually heard the names of the women that were, these dancers.
their
these
names are
models that
Their names are
Love
Love Angel and Music
Baby.
Yeah.
Yeah, she had them legally changed, of course.
Of course.
Right.
Gwen Stefani's like, if you don't
Right.
change it, I'm firing you.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness.
you don't want to miss this opportunity, do you?
You don't.
Verging on like Ellen DeGeneres levels of just bad boss.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry. Anyway, yeah, go on.
I'm not trying to be mean to Gwen. Don't sue me, please.
No, you're okay. You're okay. We'll get there. We're on this journey together.
Getting sued.
Oh.
No, not getting sued. No. God.
Spoilers.
No suing of any kind.
Oh.
No. Also, because I'm just talking about information from different articles, so I can't be sued for just saying, hey,
True.
this article says blah, blah, blah. Okay?
True.
So there we go. Totally.
It can't
totally
be. It can't be a
legal.
libel if we're just saying this happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually,
Someone
though,
else
okay.
libeled all over the place. We're just reciting it.
Yeah.
So yes, this album, Love Angel Music Baby, corresponds with this entourage of these 4 women named Love Angel Music Baby. But there are actually multiple references to these women and to this weird sort of idea that Gwen had during this album. Of course, there is an entire song on the album called Harajuku Girls. And
God.
I don't think that there's anything really notable in the song. I'm going to look it up just to make sure. But, I mean, okay, let me look up lyrics because they were referred to that as their ensemble name. Yeah, I think Harajuku Girls is basically her talking about fashion and actually when she went to the Harajuku district, which is what this is all based on. She talks about all of the clothes and all of the brand names and, you know, there's lyrics that say, Harajuku Girls, you got the wicked style. I like the way that you are. I'm your biggest fan. So that whole song is just basically saying when she visited Harajuku, she was just amazed and she was like, oh my gosh, you look so cool. I love the fashion, So it's like, okay, that one's pretty tame.
Yeah, okay, that's sweet.
It's not making
Right.
somebody
Letter
change
to
their
the
legal name.
district.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And so that's why, like, if it was just I wrote a song called Harajuku Girls and I want to hire Japanese women to come portray some models for clothes or, that they're walking down the street in these amazing fashions, then we wouldn't be here talking about that, right? It would have been a song and a music video and people would have said, cool, like the song, and probably moved on.
Cool.
Well, there's also a song on the album called Rich Girl. I don't know if you guys familiar with that song, Rich Girl?
I'm going to say no, personally.
At least I don't know it by name.
Okay, let me send you a link. I don't know if we're going to be able to play anything actually, with the video.
We can see if we can get away. Maybe not the video. We might be able to do the audio. Because I know YouTube is normally stricter when it comes to the visuals, but we can see. We can try it.
Well, I meant like I could just take a still frame or something and show people.
Oh, still frame works too.
So there is the song. I'm assuming if you hear the first part of it, you might be more familiar with it.
Oh, okay. Were those 4 Asian girls? Them? So are these children?
No, they're not.
Okay.
Oh, you mean the little girls in the beginning? No. The little girls in the beginning. The little girls in the beginning. No, okay. The little girls in the beginning are supposed to represent the child versions of Love Angel Music Baby playing with the little Bratz dolls.
Oh, okay.
And then we see the grown women later on in the video.
Okay.
But so this song Rich Girl, it was actually I don't want to use the wrong word. I don't want to use interpolation if that's not the right word, but it was a sampling from Fiddler on the Roof. Oh yeah, okay, interpolates is the right word. Hey, let's go. It interpolates the song from Fiddler on the Roof called If I Were a Rich Man. Now I'm not a musical theater person really, and I'm not familiar with Fiddler on the Roof.
Don't lie, Lexi. You sing it every night.
Sure. Okay.
Lore.
But so,
Lexi lore.
Yeah. So it is a sample from that, or it interpolates that. And the song itself is basically just saying, if I was actually rich, then I wouldn't have to wait on a man. I wouldn't have to worry about, being all of these certain things in certain ways because I could just take care of myself. That's basically the gist of the song.
Okay. Girl
However,
boss, okay.
Yeah, girl bossing. However, there is a line that she sings that says, quote, I'd get me 4 Harajuku girls to inspire me and they'd come to my rescue. I would dress them wicked. I would give them names. Love, Angel, Music, Baby. Hurry up and come and save me. So,
Um,
Gwen, Gwen, you can't do that. Gwen,
I'm glad.
I don't.
Gwen.
And here's the thing: this song is an absolute bop. I listened to this so much when I was younger, especially, and I had no clue what some of the word. I'm just like, oh, rich girl, I had no idea that some of this stuff was in here. Also, this was 20
it's like when you're
years
8.
ago.
Yeah, like when you're 8, you don't know like the context at all of what anyone's saying.
And she wasn't cussing, so it wasn't like, oh, it's bad, ooh. So, yeah, I just wanted to point that out. I'm glad you guys kind of had the same reaction that I did when I reread that, and I went, oh, okay, yeah, big no, do not like that. That is very icky. We are treating, are we fetishizing? Are we treating people like props? Like, are we all of the above? Like, what is going on?
I guess, like all the above. I don't know. I was just like, first listen, I was just like confused. Like, what?
You're like,
what
did I hear that
What does
right?
she mean by this? What does she...
So, apparently after this album came out, like I said, critically, it did pretty well. Again, 8-year-old me was bumping it. I ate that shit up. But not everybody was happy, especially with the Love Angel Music Baby entourage thing going on. One of the criticisms that I read, and I'll read this just directly from the Wikipedia because I thought it was interesting. It says Asian American entertainer and comedy Margaret Cho, who's very famous, criticized Gwen Stefani and the group for reinforcing negative ethnic stereotypes of Asian women. So she was very unhappy with it, and she said something to the effect of, it feels like a minstrel show that reinforces ethnic stereotypes of Asian women. So Margaret Cho was very unhappy with the way that this was portrayed. However, Rino Nakasone, who was Music, stage name Music, she said that she believed that Gwen Stefani was inspired by Japanese fashion culture, and she was honored to have been in the group. So someone who was directly in the group, Music, she has said, hey, I was fine with it. Like, I felt honored. I'm glad that, she chose me to be a part of this. So
yeah,
that's really difficult. And again, I'm sitting here as a white person. I know we're all white people, so I am not going to attempt to make a judgment on whether or not I will believe that this was good or bad or fine or whatever. But it is really interesting to me that there were some people who were like, yeah, this is cool and stylish and fun, and I like this. And then there were other people that were like, ooh, this feels very stereotypical and, fetishizing and all of that jazz. And for one of the actual members of the group to come out and say like, oh, I felt honored to be, in this group, kind of makes it a little bit difficult to judge, right?
Yeah, because you got like kind of both sides of the coin here being represented.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Yeah, like it's a little bit kind of like that. Because, and I think too, like obviously, like, I am also blindingly white myself. But
yeah.
in like situations like this, I prefer to listen to the people who are actually like involved in the process. You know what I mean? Like if someone who's working on it, I'm assuming she's a full ass grown adult. Like,
oh, yeah.
If she says that it was fine and she was honored and everyone had a great time doing it and it didn't feel weird, I'm inclined to believe her. Like, it seems like, the way it's received is obviously out of their control, but I feel like the intent wasn't malicious, at least to me right now.
Right. And I'm looking at the dates here. Gwen Stefani was born in 1969, and then Rino Nakasone was born in 1979. So there was only 10 years between them. I believe Gwen Stefani was about 35 when she made this album. So that would make Nakasone
and then Rino would have been
25.
Yeah, Reno would have been 25. So that's old enough, I think, to like have an understanding for that.
So, it would be a lot more creepy if it was the kids or something like that. But
no, if it was the children or even if it was like teenagers too, I'd be kind of like,
right.
No.
So you do have two adult women, at the helm of this, and so. But it also
you have you have adult women who have their autonomy in this kind of creative direction thing, right? So that's my.
It
view.
Also makes me think though that if this is somebody that kind of gave you a big break or a foot in the door to like other things, you're going to view that very differently too. So I would be very curious now to hear, because I think that was back in like 2005 or 6 when
That is another very good point. I hadn't considered, actually. Because obviously she would have an incentive to say good things about
or
Gwen Stefani.
At the time she'd probably be like, oh yeah, this is great. And so I wonder, 20 years later, wonder how everybody feels about that.
I'd be interested to get her take now on it.
And unfortunately, I couldn't find anything from any of the women that were in the Love Angel Music Baby Harajuku Girls entourage. However, we do have some things from Gwen Stefani that I will get into here in a minute. So, yeah, kind of wrapping up the point about, like, is it appropriation? How do people feel about it? I mean, specifically, how do Japanese people feel about it? How do Japanese American people feel about it? Because really, they're going to be the people that are going to be able to hold the weight and say, like, hey, yeah, we like this, or no, this was pretty bad. So I went to the internet's best place, Reddit. But
oh no,
I did actually come across some nuanced conversation about whether it was appropriation and what people thought. I did see a couple people say, hey, I'm Asian American, and just because people in Japan, like native Japanese people living in Japan, just because they're cool with it doesn't mean that it's not appropriation, or doesn't mean that it's not hurtful to us as Japanese Americans. So thought that was an interesting take. And then I also saw one person say, hey, are the Harajuku girls going to receive any backlash or criticism for appropriating Black culture? Because apparently that was a big question. They had some questionable hairstyles, questionable makeup styles going on, but I couldn't find too much on that note. Although I do want to read on the Reddit post that I saw, and we'll get into this article after I read this comment. Gwen Stefani apparently made a comment in 2019 about how she felt about the whole thing. And this Reddit user Zero the Cat, in response to this 2019 article, says, the biggest problem with the criticism people had with Harajuku was the deeply problematic way people were stereotyping Asian people as a whole by trying to represent them through the Harajuku girls. Asian culture isn't some generalized thing. Across the entire continent, every nation, every region has their own specific culture, which is a given. So to reduce Asian cultural diversity in generalized terms, let alone Japanese culture, to something singular like Harajuku, which was a minimal subculture fashion movement, is just yikes. The West has always had a big problem when it comes to their perspective of Asian women and culture, and the reaction to the girls in some circles said far more about the view of their Asian female autonomy than it did about Gwen. Gwen was always educating people on the style, where it originates from specifically within the region, and how it was unique to a certain group within a certain urban setting. Her whole shtick during this era was an Alice in Wonderland, as in a girl not from the area stumbles upon a world that is not hers and allows its inhabitants to tell the story through their dress and dance.
Okay.
So
that's a nice way to look at it.
Yeah, I thought that was very interesting, and I had honestly forgotten the whole Alice in Wonderland sort of thing, but I remembered, I was like, oh, it really is like that. She does, fall into, in the What You Waiting For music video, that is the premise. She falls into this other, world, so to speak, and is trying to make sense of it. And so I was like, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's a really good analog to kind of look at it as, like, now that it's been kind of explained.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was in reference to an article by E! News in 2019, where with the 15th anniversary of Love Angel Music Baby, Gwen Stefani stood by her decision to have this whole image and stuff going on. And so I'm going to share a picture here of, this was one of the pictures from the era. So this is Gwen in her Alice in Wonderland sort of shtick going on. And then those are the 4 women, Love, Angel, Music, and Baby. I genuinely couldn't tell you which one is supposed to be which because I'm not very familiar.
Are they not always in the correct order?
I don't know.
Well, I'd
That's a
imagine that'd be
good
kind of hard
question.
to coordinate for every photo.
Right. Yeah.
But this also looks staged, so I feel like they should be in order, maybe.
I would hope.
I hate you.
Why do you hate me? What I say?
I heard they would always be in order, baby. Like you snuck the little baby in at the
Order? No, I said order, maybe.
Oh, I thought you said order, baby.
But now I'm gonna retcon that so it says order, baby, because then that's funny.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh my
all right.
goodness.
Thanks.
So in 2019, Gwen had this to say about the Harajuku girls and that era. She says, when it first came out, I think people understood it was an artistic and literal bow down to a culture that I was a super fan of, she says to Billboard. This album was like a dream. I went in thinking I was going to make something that could never be possible, me doing a dance record, and it came true. She goes on to explain that she solely created the Harajuku Lovers with the intention of bringing to life a concept in addition to having fun. Harajuku Lovers, I think, was a fashion line.
Harajuku Lovers sounds weird.
Yeah, it does.
I didn't notice the lovers on the jerseys of the two of them there in the photo.
Yeah,
you
I
just
think
sent.
that
So
was the
yeah.
fashion line. She says, moreover, the city of Harajuku genuinely has a place in her heart, which is why she wanted to write a song that talked about her love for Harajuku. She says, quote, when you're from Anaheim and you've never traveled outside of your city until you're 21 years old, it was really crazy to go to Japan. When I got there and I saw how fashion obsessed they were, I thought they were my people because my style was so unique.
What? Okay.
Right, because her style was unique?
Yes.
She loves it
Yeah,
there?
wait.
Okay.
Yes. She's saying her style was so unique and she saw how unique the Harajuku district was in their fashion. And she just felt
Yeah, so it was more of like a
people.
kinship that she kind of felt. Yeah, like that. Or not friendship? I don't know.
Still
Something.
very
Connection.
weird. I feel like she should
Pretty
have phrased
weird way
that
to phrase
differently.
it. Yeah.
Weird
Yeah.
flex, but okay.
It says, that being said, the musician understands where people are coming from. However, she hopes that they understand where she is coming from, too. She says she does get, quote, defensive about the Harajuku girls because she appreciates the culture and what she's learned. She explains, quote, if we didn't allow each other to share our cultures, what would we be? You take pride in your culture and have traditions, and then you share them for new things to be created. So, okay. I was like, that's decent.
Okay, Gwen.
But that seems fair to me. I mean, I do be like I said, I am blindingly white, but
Right.
to my understanding, I feel like that's a good way to come at it. Like, allow yourself to embrace other cultures and understand them.
Are you about to hit us with an Uno reverse card here, Lexi? I'm afraid.
A little bit, not really, but kind of.
Mm-hmm.
So that was in 2019. She had to open her mouth again in 2023. She couldn't just leave, her explanation of that there. Apparently, she started receiving some backlash for her Harajuku. Is it Harajuku Lovers? Is that the perfume? Yes. Harajuku Lovers was the perfume. And she was getting a lot of controversy for this. And here is the photo of what some of the perfumes looked like.
Oh.
So that's what the perfumes
I'm going to take some of what I said back.
For the audio listeners, Lexi, can you just, or either one of y'all, could you take a stab at this one? Because
I can explain it for those who don't have the picture. If you're watching the video, you have the picture. But the Harajuku Lovers perfume were little dolls, essentially, that were supposed to look like Gwen and then Love, Angel, Music, and Baby. They each were a different little perfume bottle. And like one of the collections, for example, was the What You Waiting For music video. So it's Gwen as like the Alice in Wonderland sort of get up, and then Love, and they call her Little Angel in the perfume collection, but Love, Little Angel, Music, and Baby. And the drawings, the cartoons look a little bit racist, not just towards Asian people, but also towards other people of color.
everybody. If you can't see it, you should be ashamed. You should be like, man, I feel like I'm being racist against right now. That's how you should feel if you can't see these.
Oh my god.
You know, and that was my thing. I'm like, I'm gonna look this up because, like, I don't know, maybe it's just, maybe it's not that bad, right? Like, maybe people just kind of got upset, and I looked it up, and I'm like, oh no, yeah, this.
Yeah,
Gwen, try again.
That's more understandable. That's
Yeah.
Jesus, Gwen.
Gwen,
So
come on! I was rooting for you.
So she was getting backlash for this.
Good.
And that kind of got reignited in 2023. And she did an interview with Allure, which is a fashion magazine. And they were interviewing her about her fashion brand and about her, backlash for her perfume and all of this stuff. And she didn't really give a good interview here.
Great.
And,
Thanks, Gwen.
I have the LA Times article that talks about this interview because I really liked what this author had to say. LA Times article by Nardine Saad. Hope I'm saying that right. And this was from January of 2023, as well as the Allure interview was also 2023. So that's how recent this was. And I just want to read quite a bit from this LA Times article because this really kind of put the nail in the coffin for me. I was like, oh, well, after I read this summary, no. So
Just no.
this article, again, LA Times article by Nardine Saad, says, Gwen Stefani has given yet another opportunity to address her infamous appropriation of Japanese culture, specifically what she learned from the backlash, and completely botched it. In a bizarre Allure interview meant to promote her new GXVE beauty line, the Orange County bred No Doubt frontwoman instead insisted repeatedly that she is Japanese. Reigniting cultural appropriation and her long track record of misappropriation, most notoriously displayed in her early 2000s Harajuku Girls era. So,
Okay.
yeah, it gets worse.
Oh god.
Oh,
Okay.
wait, how? You can't.
So, and again, like I said, I'm just gonna read most of this article because it's fantastic. So shout out to this article because it's really good.
Keep going. I'm ready.
I'm not, but keep going.
Posed with a question by the beauty mag, so that's Allure, about what she learned from her award-winning Harajuku Lovers perfume, specifically the controversy it sparked. So the photos that we saw, or that I had to painfully describe. Gwen recited an often repeated yarn, I don't know what that means, about her Italian-American father who traveled to and from Japan for 18 years when he worked for Yamaha Motorcycles. Gwen says, quote, "That was my Japanese influence, and that was a culture that was so rich with tradition, yet so futuristic, with so much attention to art and detail and discipline, and it was fascinating to me." She said. Later, upon traveling to see the Harajuku culture herself, she added, quote, "I said, my God, I'm Japanese and I didn't know it." When the comment seemed to give the reporter a pause, Stefani doubled down and said, "I am,
It's so easy. Anybody can become Japanese, you guys.
So this is when Gwen Stefani was, mind you, 53 years old.
Oh my good
Says-
lord.
The 53-year-old twice called herself Japanese in the interview with Jessa Marie Calaor, I probably botched that, but who shared that she is an Asian woman who grew up in New Jersey. So that's the interviewer. The interviewer was an Asian woman who grew up in New Jersey.
No. Oh.
Says,
This is so good.
that's why I just had to read this article because I'm like, I couldn't put it into any better words. So big quotations around all of this. I'll let y'all know when it's back to my opinion.
Okay.
Oh,
Says
I love
the
it.
singer rationalized her offending actions as a cultural exchange rather than cultural appropriation. Stefani added, there is an innocence to her relationship with Japanese culture, referring to herself as a super fan.
So wait, are you a super fan or are you Asian? Which one is it?
She's
You can't
everything.
be both, Gwen.
She's
oh my
all.
God. Girl, please stop.
Oh.
Quote.
Someone stop her, please.
Quote from Gwen. If people are
Oh,
going
no.
to criticize me for being a fan of something beautiful and sharing that, then I think that just doesn't feel right. I think it was a beautiful time of creativity, a time of the ping pong match between Harajuku culture and American culture. It should be okay to be inspired by other cultures because if we're not allowed, then that's dividing people, right?
Oh my god. Why did she have to say ping pong match? Is she like, oh, that's Asian? They'll really relate if I say ping pong.
I didn't even think about that.
Like,
how that itself is bad. Oh my god.
I honestly my skin crawled a little bit when I heard that.
Cultural exchange.
I don't know if she meant it that way, but oh my god.
No, honestly, I think she just has really bad foot and mouth syndrome. I don't think she's trying to do this to be rude. I just think somebody
she's failing
needed to be
real
like,
bad.
Yeah. Someone needed to be like, Gwen, stop. No, just stop. Just say you thought it was a really cool project.
Like,
yeah.
Gwen. Oh,
so I'm going to continue reading this article because it's very good.
Oh, please do. Please do.
Help.
So, Jessa Marie Calor. I'm so sorry to this interviewer.
So sorry to everyone mentioned in this episode.
Yeah, I'm so sorry to everybody, but I'm very sorry to the people's names that I'm butchering.
Well, Lexi, you can just say you're Asian now, okay?
Oh,
or you're Japanese.
Yeah,
remember?
Nothing matters
if
anymore,
Gwen Stefani
right?
can do it,
oh my
anybody
god,
can.
No, okay, we haven't even gotten to the worst part.
What do you mean we haven't gotten to the worst part? What do you mean?
So,
you can't just drop that, Lexi.
Yeah. So the interviewer, Jessa Marie Calor, wrote, Stefani referred to herself as, quote, a little bit of an Orange County girl, a little bit of a Japanese girl, a little bit of an English girl, and Italian, American, Irish, or whatever mutt that I am.
You can't.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Or are we just in shock? Should I continue?
I'm
in
just in shock right now. Yeah,
Okay.
Gordon, I don't know if you have anything to add. I don't. I'm just listening.
I'm just saying you can't keep saying this. Like, she's just like,
yeah.
You can't
So
go away
anyways,
with.
Yeah. Her
Right.
just being like, so anyways, I might be from Orange County, and I'm also might be from Jersey, and also just Japanese, like
too.
at heart. I might be Irish too.
Why not?
No, Jersey
Yeah.
was
In
the
there.
author. The author was from Jersey.
Okay.
Or
I'm
the
so sorry
interviewer,
to
excuse
the
me.
author.
The interviewer. So
Okay, all right, I'm
it
ready.
says, questioning what had transpired in the interview, the writer followed up with Stefani's rep the day after the interview, and the rep indicated that Calor had misunderstood what Stefani was trying to convey, but declined to provide an on-the-record comment or clarification of the remarks.
What do you mean? You can't just say nah.
No, you misunderstood what she was saying. Oh, what did she say? Oh, I don't is secret. I'm not gonna tell you. Like, what's secret?
Yeah.
You'll never know. You'll never find out from me.
No, she didn't mean that. Oh, okay, well, what did she mean? I mean, you have the text right in front of you.
Further context you shall see, but first answer my riddles 3. Like, what kind of response? Like, what?
So it says, the singer has repeatedly spoken of her deep love and appreciation for Japanese culture, but the magazine said has not publicly expressed outrage or made any statements of support during the recent rise in anti-Asian American and Pacific Islander hate.
Just because you like Asian things does not mean you get to just go, you know what? I'm Asian now. Like, you can't
I'm
do
Japanese
that.
now. Like, what the?
Right.
That's not how it works, Gwen. Like, I know I just keep saying Gwen, but like, legitimately, that's not how it works.
Makes me sad to be a Gwen.
There were a couple comments on this from social media users. I like in this article for the LA Times, they quote someone on Instagram as saying, before reading the article, I assumed that Gwen would note that a recent ancestry DNA test indicated considerable Japanese ethnicity inheritance. But sadly, this is not the case. So some people were trying to give her benefit of the doubt, like, oh, hey, maybe she did some ancestry looking and maybe she actually is Japanese.
Lexi, there's no doubt. No doubt.
Oh my god.
Oh!
Another user on social media wrote, being a super fan of something doesn't make you that thing.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure that'd be common knowledge, but you know.
Right.
Maybe Orange County just really got to Gwen. That's all I can think. That like being out in the Orange County heat for too long just fried her brain, where she's just like, "Don't speak" when anybody ever like questions what she says.
That's just what happens when people spend their entire lives in Southern California. That's just what happens.
Right. So I want to read this quote from Variety TV critic Oh, sorry, what?
I said there's still more.
Yeah, well, because this sums it up, basically. Like,
The fun never stops.
I couldn't put it into better words. So I'm going to quote, the LA Times uses this quote from Variety TV critic Daniel Diodario. I hope I'm not butchering that either. And Daniel has to say, quote, "It's incredible that almost 20 years ago, Gwen Stefani did an extended race play act that basically no one would accept today. Completely got away with it as everyone forgot, and then proactively brought it up again just now."
Just for fun.
And I'm like,
I
Daniel,
mean, she's made her money. Who cares? Like,
yeah. Like, Daniel, you hit that on the head. I have no
when I
words.
said I was Japanese, I feel deep down that I was Japanese for the sake of my ancestors who also may have been Japanese.
Right.
So do you have anything to prove that, Miss Stefani? What? That's what it feels like.
Gwen, no. Gwen, stop saying you're Japanese. Oh, God, she has AirPods in. She can't hear us.
She's doing it.
Oh, Lordy. Okay.
You know, my whole take with this, when I first came into this and was researching this, I was like, you know, if this was the only instance, like if she had made this Harajuku Girls song or like the perfume and like that was it, I would be like, okay, that was just a major, like, again, I'm not going to comment on whether or not it was appropriation because I am whiter than Casper, but just the idea of like, if this was a one-time thing, I'd be like, okay, she probably didn't mean it. Like, what is she going to say in order to like try to excuse this? But the close of this LA Times article really put this into perspective, and I underlined it and said, on that note, it says, quote, "Prior to that," referring to the Harajuku Lovers perfume line. So prior to that, in the 1990s, the ska artist turned pop star often wore a Hindu bindi and styled her hair in South African Bantu knots. In 2005, Stefani was also accused of appropriating Hispanic and Latino culture in her Luxurious music video. Also a fantastic song. Sorry, appropriation aside. Then in 2012, she and No Doubt were accused of appropriating indigenous culture in their music video for, quote, "looking hot."
Oh, my God.
Gwen, get some help.
She
Gwen, getting all
had...
the Infinity Stones. What the hell?
Yes, exactly.
I'll do
She
it
has-
myself. I'm bringing racism back myself.
Oh, my gosh. The appropriation stones.
Gwen Stefani villain arc. Oh, God.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's real bad. See, you can't just, you know, one time, oh, okay, sorry, maybe that was a genuine attempt. All these other times, I'm like, oh no.
Yeah, there's a lot. Oh, gosh.
Well-
I mean, like, it'd be interesting to go, like, more. I know we don't have time now, but, like, it'd be interesting to go more into the context of, like, those as well to see, like, if there's,
Oh
like,
my God, I know.
some kind of through line. Like, I don't, because she can't say the same thing. Like, she's not going to walk up to an interview and be like, well, I'm actually, like, 1% indigenous.
Yeah,
and,
right. I'm
you know,
actually
spiritually. Like, she
actually
can't-
Latino.
Yeah.
She can't do that every time. Like, she, like, what?
Because I'm from Orange County, I've had some very nice Mexican food, so I'm now also
I might
Hispanic.
actually be related to Selena. So,
Yeah.
you know. Oh my God. You know, the other thing that I thought was crazy is that, you know, a lot of people were doing some things that they maybe were not supposed to or shouldn't have in like the 90s and the early 2000s and all that stuff. But when I was like in 2012, No Doubt was accused of appropriating indigenous culture. I'm like, I feel like we had that conversation as a society. Like we were starting to have more conversations about that by then. Would you guys say?
I mean, you know, I was barely conscious, let alone thinking critically at that age. But I mean, especially growing up in
2012?
Canada too.
Jeez.
Sorry, I misheard the date. Yeah. No,
I
when
just
I was
learned
how
that
old would I have
Eric
been?
was born
Yeah. When
in-
I was 16. When I was 16, I didn't know how to read.
Yeah.
But I mean, like even before that too, and especially back in 2012. Not to mention being Canadian myself. You know, like indigenous and native culture and issues are always kind of at the like forefront. Like it was kind of a cultural zeitgeist, and it still definitely is, if not more so today, right? So
Right.
I feel like back in 2012, yeah, you should have known that. Like, you
Really
should have known how that would
Gwen.
be received.
Yeah.
Yeah. Come on, Gwen. What the heck? Well, come on, no doubt, right? Because that's
No doubt.
Right. Yeah.
No
Gwen,
doubt,
and
no
then
doubt.
Also, no doubt. I don't know. I don't think that was just her. But maybe I didn't look into that one very much.
Who knows?
That was just kind of
Either
the
way,
closing.
it happened.
Right. The one last. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I wanted not a full, but I don't want to put a full cap on it. But like, this started out so like, okay, so you know Gwen Stefani, like Gwen Stefani's very much like, hey, I'm Gwen Stefani, and we're just like, cool, Gwen, that's good to hear.
Like she's
and
a
by the end,
musician. She's got fashion
Yeah.
lines. Like okay, she was on The Voice.
And then by the end,
alright.
she's like, okay, I might be from Orange County in Canada, but I'm also I'm Japanese, and then
no,
bringing it up.
I think she said that she was a little bit of an Orange County girl, a little bit of a Japanese girl, a little bit of an English girl, Italian American, Irish, or whatever mutt that I am. But here's the thing: overwhelmingly white.
You have no proof.
Gonna say she is pasty AF.
Yeah, I'm like, you just named 3 predominantly white places. you
Yeah.
know? Like ancestry that's predominantly white. You just named that.
No, that's yeah. I was gonna say this episode has been crazy. Like it felt
Yes.
like there were like 3 different twists, and they all felt like getting hit by an 18-wheeler. Like it is crazy.
Well,
Total agreement.
Oh my gosh.
and I wanted to add the fact that she did say in an interview way back in, I want to say, I think
The 90s.
No, I think it was like 2006 or 2008, where she was basically like, you know, a hit's a hit. I'll do what I need to do to get a hit. You know, like a hit song.
She's like,
I
I'm gonna
guess
get
if you're
that. I'm gonna get that bag.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
Guess if you're
like-
like that business savvy, or like, I mean, not necessarily business savvy, but just like that like driven to get like the #1 song, you know. Who
Right.
cares if you appropriate a couple cultures on the way, you know? Like who? Like, you know.
Eric, we've all done it. Okay, we've all
Exactly.
done it.
Yeah.
Who here hasn't appropriated a couple cultures before? Okay.
True. Who hasn't tried to get all the Infinity Stones in their freaking?
Look, I have talked to one person from Vietnam. I'm also Vietnamese now. So,
Oh my goodness.
So true.
so
So
true,
tr-
bestie. So
So
true.
true,
Oh
bestie.
my gosh.
Talk your shit, King.
One final note to leave this on that I thought was just kind of interesting given the context of what we were talking about. She is still releasing music. It sounds like she released a song, if not an album.
I
at
thought
the
you were
end
gonna
of-
say it sounds like shit. I'm so
Well,
sorry.
that's subjective. I hate country music, and that's kind of what she's gone into.
Oh, it's
so.
country.
Oh, is she
Yeah,
doing
well,
country?
she's
Oh,
married
no.
to Blake Shelton, so she's country now.
Oh.
So she released a song I found. It was called "Somebody Else's" is the name of the song. I gave it a listen. It's okay. I'll link it for y'all to listen to.
All right.
It's
I
very
will play
generic.
just like
y'all.
Holla Back Girl. Just like Holla Back Girl, I will play a second of it right here.
Right.
And that's it.
And that's it. Yeah, I'll tell you good.
So she has kind of made the switch to being country pop girly.
Country
and it
pop
makes-
girly.
It makes a lot of sense because she is married to Blake Shelton and he's Mr. Country Man. And I don't know anything about country music, nor do I care to. I'm very sorry to any country music fans, but I hate it.
Yeah, sorry to any country heads out there.
True.
Yeah, I'm not talking about like Dolly Parton. She's a queen. I'm talking about pop country. Also, Casey Musgraves is pretty good, but yeah, don't like country music, and so not really for me. It's pretty. I think it's pretty safe. It's a pretty safe song for Gwen Stefani, but definitely a departure from 20 years ago when she was really trying to do her own thing, and that's something that I will say is that, you know, cultural appropriation or whatever you want to call it, how deep it goes for that album. I think that she really was trying to be unique and fun and just make a record that she wanted to make with Love Angel Music Baby. And I don't know if that's really her style anymore. So,
Dang.
Yeah.
How the Gwens have
I
fallen.
mean, you know.
but
Yep.
you know, don't want to insult her artistry, you know.
Yeah, that's just kind of part of being an artist. Like, of course, you're going to evolve and change, like, over time.
she also did say a hit's a hit, so you know.
We're Stefani guys. Of course we're going to evolve and change.
Maybe there was some like unknown trend I didn't know about where like in 2024 everyone's just running back to country music and now she's trying to catch in.
Post Malone.
They are.
Are they actually?
Yeah,
oh, no.
Jelly Roll. Yep.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I know about Post Malone in like my peripheral. I don't know the last time I've like sought out a song that was on the top 40. Not because I'm like a hipster, but just because, you know, it just hasn't really appealed to me. Well, I guess Linkin Park is top 40. Whatever.
Also, I don't have time to go into all
hipster.
of the changes to Billboard. We'd be here for 5 hours. So, but yeah, good. That is a good point, Camp.
That's the next episode.
You know, we could talk about that in a future episode. Yeah, if you guys want to hear about how Billboard charts have changed over the last even 5 to 10 years, and how
that
now,
would be interesting.
If you're looking at the chart and you're going, who, what, you know, not just because you're old, it's because they've actually changed the requirements for the Billboard chart, and so that's why we're seeing a lot more country music. Because, again, I won't get into the spoiler as to why that's happening. So if you want to see that, leave a comment. I want to hear about Billboard charts.
I was going to say, Lexi knows a lot about music, and Eric is a musician. So if you need to know anything about these things,
I know
they
about
are
music
there for that.
From the pop culture as a listener thing. Camp knows about music because, he is a musician. So want to make that distinction.
So,
I am
so
not
I guess
a
the Billboard
musician.
episode, me and Lexi can have a conversation, and then Jacob or Gordon will just watch from the corner.
Right.
Hi.
He'll just listen to the
kind of
music.
like crouching on the chair.
I brought snacks.
That was Gwen Stefani and the infamous, famous, very influential. I think that's a safe thing to say. Very influential for whatever reason. Album, whether it's because of the production on that album is fantastic. All the controversy aside.
Even the little bit of Rich Girl I was listening to before, like going too deep into it, it was good. Like it's well produced.
Yeah, pop music hasn't really felt like that many times. That was definitely a special thing. So, So yeah, I think unless you guys have anything else to add to that.
Well, there's only one thing that I have to add to that, and that's patrons. Oh no, I didn't think of a good way to do that.
That was.
I
knew where you were going, but still.
If we were all rich girls, then we wouldn't need patrons. But we're poor, so we need patrons. So thank you so much, patrons.
It's hard out here.
Thank you so much for helping us
Thank you very
produce
much.
This podcast. So maybe
you can all be our hollaback girls.
Right. Maybe someday we can be rich girls. Okay. So,
True.
You know, what you waiting
we'll
for?
Get there,
Go to
maybe.
that Patreon link.
Go to putinyoursocialsecurity.com right now.
Right. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll Stefani you later or something. I don't know.
That sounds bad.
Yeah. Okay. You know, and so did the whole thing. So bye.
Go be Asian.
No, what?
Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Mine.